Hey, what's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist, and today I'm going to be doing an Ancient Gear deck profile. So this deck is really fun and OTKs your opponent really fast, as you guys probably know. So this deck is super crazy about summoning out Chaos Ancient Gear Giant, just to be able to OTK our opponent really easy. It can make monsters that are way over 18, or like 8,000 attack points, extremely fast and extremely easy with effects like Power Bond and limiter removal and stuff like that that's lurking in this deck. So without further ado guys, let's get straight on this. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Tell me what you think of this deck down in the comments down below, and hit that bell so you can come part of the notification squad, and let's get straight on into this. So, first off, we're going to be playing one copy of Ancient Gear Golem and one copy of Ancient Gear Golem Ultimate Pound. Now, you just want to play these two to use for materials for our copy of Ancient Gear Fusion, because you can use them from deck to be able to fusion summon extremely easily. And they're basically just materials. Sometimes you can special summon them off of Ultimate Ancient Gear Golem, but it's very rare. Then we play two copies of Ancient Gear Yugioh, or Ancient Gear Reactor Dragon. I summon this quite often off of our copies of Ancient Gear Fortress and Gear Town and Catapult and stuff like that. Those combos that are extremely easy to pull off in this deck that help us just OTK our opponent a little bit easier to put a big 3k dragon on board, well, machine dragon on board. And it's just really important. And if it's tribute summoned by tribute summoning an Ancient Gear monster, it attacks you can attack defense position monsters and inflicts piercing damage. This card is tribute summoned using a gadget monster. It can make a second attack during each battle phase. If this card attacks, your opponent cannot special summon or cannot activate souls and traps until the end of the damage step. And if this card is attacked, it can destroy a spell or trap on the field to kind of like push your way through to be able to OTK your opponent, which really helps out a lot. Three copies of Ancient Gear Wyvern. Ancient Gear Wyvern, you just normal summon it, and once you normal summon it, you get to add an Ancient Gear card from your deck to your hand, which is really cool. To be able to add like Ancient Gear Fusion, Ancient Gear Frame, Reactor, Gear Town, or you can add Gear Town, but you can add Catapult or Fortress directly from your deck to your hand, which is really helpful to be able to do all sorts of different combos. Two copies of Ancient Gear Frame. I really want to play this at 3. I really want to play it at 3, but I cannot justify it with Wyvern. Playing it at 3, but you can discard a card and then add an Ancient Gear Golem or a spell or trap card that specifically lists Ancient Gear Golem, which is Ancient Gear Fusion, directly from your deck to your hand, which is a really good effect. And then once returning this card's attacks, your opponent cannot activate spells or traps at the end of the damage step. And if this face-up card on the field in its owner's possession leaves the field because of an opponent's card effect, you can special summon up to 3 Ancient Gear Golems and or Ultimate Pounds from your hand, ignoring summoning conditions. So it's up to 3, but we usually aren't going to have 3 in our hand, which is kind of crap. We're never going to be able to get that effect off usually. Maybe 1 you'll get special summon, but you'll never get more than 1. 3 copies of Ancient Gear Hound. You need 3 copies of Ancient Gear Hound. Hunting Hound, because it's another essentially fusion spell. When it's normal summon, you get to inflict 600 points of damage to your opponent. And then it also has the ability that you can fusion summon 1 Ancient Gear monster from your extra deck using this card on your field and materials on your field in your hand. So it's kind of like walking polymerization, if you will. Then we play 1 copy of Gearbox. Gearbox is here, like if you search something, you search this first, and then you get to search another Earth Machine monster from your deck with 500 attack or defense, which is a lot of our monsters. Like Gear Frame has 500 defense. Wyvern doesn't, but you get to add stuff like that. Like you get Gear Frame usually off of that. I just play 1 of because I don't want to draw it. Then for the gadgets, we're going to play 2 copies of Ancient Gear Gadget, which is the fusion of like Ancient Gears and gadgets in 1 archetype. When it's normal summoned, you get to declare a card type, which is monster, spell, or trap, and if a monster you control attacks, your opponent cannot activate that particular one that you declared, which is really cool. And then once per turn, you can declare gadget, monsters, and card name. Until the end phase of the turn, this card's name becomes that, which kind of helps out in a way, but kind of not. It kind of was for Ancient Gear Chimera and Ancient Gear Gidgetron Drag to be able to tribute summon. We don't use those, so it's not that big a deal. And then I play 2 gold and 2 silver gadgets, because these help out as well. Because you just normal summon 1 of these and then special summon a level 4 machine monster from your hand, which can really help when they're normal or special summon. And then if they're destroyed by battle, you can special summon a level 4 gadget monster from your deck, which can kind of help out with summoning Ancient Gear Gadget. I just wanted a little bit more utility to the deck besides just completely blowing out on Ancient Gear monsters. So I played the 4 gadget monsters, these 4, just to kind of throw them in here. So that's it for the monsters, guys. Let's get into the spells. I mean, you could probably get away with playing one more Ancient Gear Golem, to be honest with you, but like I just didn't throw in another one. 2 copies of Terraforming to search Gear Town, because you need to get Gear Town on your side of the field as quickly as possible. It really helps out to get Gear Town onto your side of the field to be able to normal summon your Ancient Gears for 1 less tribute, and to be able to destroy it, special summon out Ancient Gear monsters. For the fusion spells, we're going to play 2 copies of Power Bomb, which doubles the attack points of the monster that we special summon, which is really helpful to be able to summon something like our Ultimate Ancient Gear Golem, or the one that I normally summon is Megaton, to be able to go to 66, and it can attack, I believe, 3 times. If this card attacks, your opponent cannot activate spells from traps, and if this card is fusion summoned using 2 or more Ancient Gear Golems as material, it can attack it that many times during the battle phase, and if this card is fusion summoned, certain position leaves the field, you can special summon an Ultimate Ancient Gear Golem from your extra deck. Usually that's the one I go for first, to be able to use that last effect so it can float into an ultimate. 2 copies of Ancient Gear Fusion. This card is extremely valuable for the deck. It really helps out to have the Ancient Gear Fusion to be able to fusion summon into just anything that you want to, because you can fusion summon an Ancient Gear Fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters from your hand or field. And if you use Ancient Gear Golem or Ancient Gear Ultimate Pound, you can fusion summon. You can also use monsters from your deck as material, which is cool. 2 copies of Overload Fusion. Overload Fusion just helps us go into Chaos Giant really fast. 2 Twin Twisters, because I just want to stop my opponent from doing shenanigans against me, and I really don't want to deal with back row. 2 copies of Limited Removal, because I just want to OTK my opponent extremely fast. 3 copies of Gear Town. Gear Town is both players can normal summon Ancient Gear monsters for 1 less tribute. And then when this card is destroyed and sent to the graveyard, you can special summon 1 Ancient Gear monster from your hand, deck, or grave, which really is awesome to summon Reactor Dragon off of this. 3 copies of Catapult, which is usually going to be the card that you're going to destroy Gear Town with. If you control no monster, you can target a face-up card you control, destroy it, and if you do, special summon 1 Ancient Gear monster from your deck, ignoring its summoning conditions. And then you can banish it from your graveyard to target 1 card you control and destroy that card, and if you do, special summon an Ancient Gear token. And you can only use 1 of Ancient Gear Catapult's effects per turn. For the last 3 cards in the main deck, we're going to play 3 copies of Ancient Gear Fortress. During the turn they were normal summoned or set, your opponent cannot target Ancient Gear monsters you control with card effects, and they cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects. Your opponent cannot activate cards or effects in response to the activation of Ancient Gear cards effects. And if this card is destroyed in your spell trap card zone, you can special summon 1 Ancient Gear monster from your hand or graveyard. Also, you cannot special summon monster for the rest of the turn except Ancient Gears. Usually I use this one later in the game to destroy with Catapult, so I can special summon 1 of my fusions back from the grave that's been properly fusion summoned, to really just OTK my opponent if I get to later in the game. The only thing I'd probably change about this deck, to be perfectly honest with you guys, is I'd probably drop maybe 1 of these Ancient Gear gadgets and play another normal Ancient Gear Golem, just to be able to have more materials for my fusion summons. That might be the only thing I change. I've been kind of going back and forth with if I want to play 2 Ancient Gear Golems, 2 Ultimate Pounds, or play 2 of the gadgets, and I'm kind of leaning towards getting rid of 1 of those gadgets and playing another Golem just to have more materials to special summon, but I didn't want to break with too many high levels. So that was just my, overall opinion. So play the deck how you want. But that's it for the main deck, guys. Let's get into the extra deck. So the extra deck's where this deck really shines, because it's going to be the majority of where your extra deck monsters that are going to OTK your opponent are lurking anyways. So let's get into that. And don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell down there so you can become part of the notification squad. So we're going to play 2 copies of Chaos Giant because it's the big boss monster of the extra deck. It's a 4500 beat stick that takes 4 Ancient Gear monsters to fusion summon it. Usually you're going to summon this off of Overload Fusion because it's a dark monster. And it has the effect of that it's unaffected by spell or trap effects, and your opponent's monsters cannot activate their effects during the battle phase. This card can attack all monsters your opponent controls once each, and it inflicts piercing damage as well, which is just absolutely crazy. If you go up against something that plays like ritual monsters, you can go up against that and just attack 2 of their incantation monsters and just win off of that if they leave them unprotected on the board. Then I play 2 copies of Ultimate Ancient Gear Golem. Ultimate Ancient Gear Golem I summon quite frequently in this deck, but what it does is basically it inflicts piercing damage, and then if it's going to be destroyed, if this card is destroyed, you can special summon 1 Ancient Gear Golem from your graveyard, ignoring its summoning conditions, which is really cool to be able to just replace itself, and it's really helpful to be able to replace itself as well. So you really want to play 2 copies of this. I only play 1 Megaton, because Megaton is good, but it's like my starter card that I would normally go for, with Power Bond and stuff like that, to be able to have like a 66 beater, if I'm not going to go for Ultimate Ancient Gear Golem. But it's basically, its thing is that it can, I read it earlier, but it can attack up to the number of times you put Ancient Gear monsters into this card, like Ancient Gear Golem, Ultimate Pound, and stuff like that. Then double Howitzer. Howitzer is really good. It's unaffected by all their card effects, and then during the main phase, you can inflict 1,000 points of damage to your opponent. And then if this card is destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, you can special summon one Ancient Gear monster from your deck, ignoring its summoning condition. So you just make this normally. This or Megaton is usually my first two go-to monsters. And then we play a Boral Sword just to be able to OTK our opponent a little bit faster, which we need to do that. One copy of Phoenix just to pop spells and traps. One Cleafort Genius because it's a machine monster and it's really easy to link summon into this. 2 Platinum Gadgets because it's super easy to use the gadget monsters to link summon into this. This is the big reason I actually dumped gadgets into the deck, was because I wanted to be able to summon this. It just takes 2 machine monsters to link into this, and during your main phase you can special summon level 4 lower gadget monster in your hand to a zone this card points to. If this card is destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, you can special summon level 4 gadget monster from your deck. But the only thing that you have to keep in mind is it cannot be used as link material for the link summon of another monster. Then Nemesis Radiant, because it's an Earth monster. I go for this quite a lot to be able to link summon into Earth monsters. Garganta X, just to be able to search what I want to search. And 1 copy of Aguska just to stall my opponent until I get my fusion spells, if I need to. So that's it for the deck, guys. I hope you enjoyed this one. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Tell me what you think of this deck down in the comments down below. Like I said, the only thing I really have been thinking about changing is putting another Ancient Gear Golem in the deck. I kind of had one in the deck, and I was like, nah, I don't need that. I can just drop it down to 2, and it'll work. But the more I test it, the more I realize I might actually bump it back up to 3. Let me hear what you guys think about that down in the comments down below. Play test it a little bit with me. I tested on Yugioh Pro, and kind of like 3, but I like 2 at the same time, so it's kind of like, I don't know. It's kind of just an opinion. So anyways, guys, this is DarkArmedDuelist. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Hit that bell and there so you can become part of the notification squad, and I'll see you guys in the next video. See you around, guys.